Celtics Media Day just wrapped up, and we have some big news on some major injury updates revolving around Kristaps Porzingis, as he is surprising everybody in his timetable to return and is already one-on-oneing and running. We're also going to be diving in, looking at other two bigs and Luke Kornet and Xavier Tillman, who suffered minor injuries but should be set to go for the season start as well. How will this all affect Joe Mazzulla's rotation? We'll be diving into all of these questions and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. I want to say shout out to everyone that's been tuning in. Without further ado, we're going to get into the news. It was media day today, a jam-packed day. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on everything, because the news is going to be rampant. We're going to have videos on abundance of topics. Without further ado, though, let's dive in. Let's get into this update, as we're going to be looking at a Kristaps Porzingis injury update. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We saw today some massive news revolving around Kristaps Porzingis, which is fantastic for this Boston Celtics organization. First off, we're going to look at the article reported from ESPN that came out before Media Day had even launched at 10:15 a.m. And this article was courtesy of Ramona Shelburne, where she went into detail talking about this Boston Celtics championship team, going into detail about Brad Stevens knowing about selling the team, Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown's motivation, and Kristaps Porzingis, and amongst other things. And we're going to be focusing on just the Kristaps Porzingis part for this video here. But she was talking about the injury with Kristaps Porzingis having, talking to Brad Stevens, where Stevens said the injury is unique enough that we won't obviously rush anything, Stevens said. But I would say that if we have a timeline in our head, we're very encouraged by where he is. Still, the expectation is that the Celtics will be without their star center for the first few months of the season, and we're still expecting that, but the expectation is sometime in December for a return from Kristaps Porzingis, as he told ESPN this himself. But he's feeling really good and working towards hopefully playing even earlier than that, which is even better for Celtics fans. Once again, Kristaps Porzingis has dealt with injuries his entire career, so when the Celtics traded for him, Celtics fans knew he was going to have to deal with some injuries and some hiccups going along the way. As long as they didn't hinder the team, the fans were okay with it. And as we saw through the regular season and throughout the playoffs, this team can win with Porzingis in the lineup and with Porzingis out of the lineup. They obviously are a lot better with him in it, but they definitely can succeed and have other players like Al Horford, Luke Kornet, Xavier Tillman step up to that occasion and rise to that stay ready group. Honestly, hearing these words come from Kristaps Porzingis is absolutely fantastic, and we got even some better information regarding around Porzingis as well. So let's keep getting into it and diving into it as well for you guys. Let's go. First off, we're going to talk about Kristaps Porzingis' injury. This is obviously courtesy of Shuichi Terada, who said that it was a rare injury. Kristaps Porzingis said this himself on the podium. He got the surgery done right after the parade. Then it was 3 or 4 weeks or so kind of at home, hanging out, relaxing. Then he was able to start doing more in August, working back on it. And now it's the end of September, and he's feeling pretty good. Don't give a timeline on his return yet, but he is still feeling solid with this team. Bobby Manning had some more quotes around Porzingis, where Porzingis said he's walking, he's running, he's on the court, shooting normal, and doing a lot of stuff. Honestly, some light contact, felt really good afterward, and he thinks that's a good sign that we have from the other day, and he's optimistic as always. Now, Porzingis, as we all know, has always been optimistic in his injury return, going back to last year through the regular season and through the playoffs. He always was a guy that never wanted to count himself out, but I love to see this. He's already running on the court. He's already playing one-on-ones. He's already taking light contact. This is fantastic for Celtics fans. He is supposed to be out a multitude of months, and this man is already working back to getting towards being healthy. Woo, this is just great news to hear, especially with his expected timetable to be out. We know Kristaps Porzingis wants to be out on the court with his friends playing basketball once again. And we've already seen, from his Instagram highlights and all that stuff, him trying to work back together to try to get on that court. But just hearing this confirmation from himself just makes you even more confident as a Celtics fan. Let's keep diving in. Let's keep talking about these quotes here. Let's look at the next one, talking about Kristaps Porzingis. This one's from Jake King, where he said he's obviously feeling really good. Some stuff we already touched on, but it includes some light contact work, saying he's really optimistic, as is always, in his recovery. Then discussing more with Brad Stevens. Porzingis seems to be recovering well, so there's no timetable because of how unique the injury is, but there's a little surprise by how far he's done so far. Not only is Brad Stevens surprised, I'm also surprised that our guy in Kristaps Porzingis has been able to overcome this injury this satisfactory and this readily for this Celtics team. Once again, this team is pushing for a championship. They would love to have him out on the court. They don't want to rush him back on the court, but he doesn't want to rush himself back either. But he's already feeling pretty good, progressing well. He's talking a little bit about his injury in the playoffs last year as well, and he was talking about this injury, how he feels really confident going into this season. Some more quotes talking about Porzingis and being surprised from Ian Angelo, the newest Celtics blog writer. This is what Porzingis had to say to Mark D'Amico, to Eddie House, where he says he is feeling way ahead of schedule on his timetable to return, which is absolutely fantastic and something that I am very, very excited to see. Once again, like I've been keep saying, Porzingis is going to be back. He is going to be ready to go for this team, and I can't wait to see what he does. Horford also chimed in on this as well, mentioning how he and others have to fill in for Porzingis in the playoffs, and they're preparing similarly how they prepared in the previous years. There'll be opportunity in the front court, and they might have to play some different ways at times. Now, to add on to this Kristaps Porzingis news as well, from my own tweets, he did play some one-on-one already. Like I said, he has been doing that, and he said that to Mark D'Amico, to Caleb Burton, and to Eddie House, which was absolutely fantastic. And he also said this, which I talked about in previous Celtics Digest videos, that Kristaps wants to make sure he's 100% when he comes back from this injury. He wants to make sure there are no setbacks from the end of the season going into next. That means Porzingis wants to make sure that when he comes back from this injury, he is not getting re-injured. He is not going to be out for the playoffs for the second half of the season. Once he is back from this injury, he wants to maintain that he can play the foreseeable future of that season. And that's just what I love to hear out of our guy in Kristaps Porzingis. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. How do you guys feel about Kristaps Porzingis once again having this kind of emotion being brought back, in media day, giving that confirmation that he is ready to go. He has already had some training one-on-one, having some contact, doing some shooting, doing some running on the court. He is way ahead of schedule, surprising Brad Stevens and how good he's been able to recover, and honestly surprising Celtics fans, including myself as well. Let me know what you guys think down below. And next, we're going to be diving in a little bit more injury updates, diving into Luke and X-Man. That's right. I did mention there are some other players on this Celtics team that have some injury updates as well. And those players are in that front court alongside Kristaps Porzingis. If we want to look at this tweet or this quote from Bobby Manning, we can see that Xavier Tillman had a knee scope and Luke Kornet had wrist surgery after last season. Even though they both did have these minor injuries, they are both cleared to play and will both be available to go on in training camp and for the preseason. So Luke kind of touched upon this as well when he was interviewed and talked to on the podium, basically saying that he had this wrist surgery, but it's no issue, no worry, just a little minor tweak, and that he's ready to go. And that's great. Ultimately, having Luke Kornet, having Neemias Queta, who I did not really mention today in today's episode, but was fantastic as well at Media Day, talking about how he's just happy to be back in Boston, happy to be given this opportunity, and is working on all different facets of his game. That's another player I want to dive in and talk to for a future video. But like I said, Media Day was today. Absolutely fantastic to hear from all these players, hearing about Kristaps Porzingis' injury update, hearing about Luke Kornet and Xavier Tillman having to deal with some tweak injuries as well, but they'll both be ready for training camp. They're both bought in and ready to fight in this front court alongside Al Horford, alongside Neemias Queta, to compete and show what they can bring in training camp. Practice starts tomorrow. We'll have updates, all that stuff. More news as well revolving around this Celtics team. Jayson Tatum apparently changing his jump shot. Jaylen Brown motivated more than ever. Al Horford saying he's not retiring. Joe Mazzulla having crazy quotes. We want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around this team. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Celtics Digest is going to be pumping out that content, and we can't wait to have you guys around on this journey with us. Once again, I'm Bruce Velez. Celtics basketball is getting closer and closer day by day with the start of Media Day today, and I'm super excited. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop down your thoughts, enjoy the rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics.